Welcome to the Daily Past, your go-to source for the news that matters. Today, we're covering a rapidly escalating political crisis in South Korea that has gripped the nation and alarmed the international community. The ruling party's decision to impose martial law has sparked outrage and heated protests, raising serious concerns about the future of democracy in the country. Stick with us as we break down the events leading to this shocking decision and what it means for South Korea and beyond. Over the past few weeks, South Korea has been rocked by unprecedented political tensions. The nation's political landscape has become a battleground between the ruling party and the opposition, with each side accusing the other of undermining national stability. The opposition has pushed through a controversial budget that the ruling party claims will jeopardize public safety, destabilize the economy, and leave the nation vulnerable to external threats. The opposition, on the other hand, has accused the government of mismanaging the country's resources and failing to deliver on promises made to the people. This conflict has intensified with the opposition's aggressive moves to impeach key government officials, including those in the executive branch. What began as a political dispute has now spiraled into an all-out battle for control of the country. The stakes have never been higher, and both sides are playing their cards with zero regard for the stability of the government or the public. Then, in a stunning move, the South Korean president declared martial law. In a matter of hours, key government buildings, including the National Assembly, were locked down by military forces. The military now controls access to these critical legislative institutions, effectively halting the functions of the government. Parliamentary sessions have been suspended indefinitely, leaving the people without representation and the legislative process in a state of paralysis. But the president didn't stop there. Under the guise of maintaining order, the martial law command has taken control of every major media outlet in the country. In a chilling move that echoes authoritarian regimes, the press has been silenced, and the free flow of information has been severely restricted. The government claims this is to prevent misinformation from destabilizing the country, but what they're really doing is controlling the narrative, suppressing dissent, and denying the public their right to know the truth. It's an affront to freedom of speech and an attack on the very foundation of democracy. Naturally, the people of South Korea are not taking this lying down. Large-scale protests have erupted in major cities, with demonstrators gathering around government buildings, demanding an end to martial law. Protesters have raised their voices against what they see as an undemocratic power grab and a flagrant violation of their civil liberties. These protests are more than just an outcry over a policy, they are a fight for South Korea's future. People are demanding the restoration of their rights, the return of their democratic processes, and the removal of military control over civilian life. The chants you hear in the streets are cries for justice, for the preservation of democracy, and for a future free from authoritarian rule. The situation has not only captivated the attention of South Korea but has drawn sharp reactions from the global community. Countries around the world, including Japan and China, have issued warnings for their citizens in South Korea, urging them to remain cautious as tensions continue to rise. Governments and international organizations are watching closely, and many are deeply concerned that this could lead to a broader regional instability. The United States, which has long been an ally of South Korea, has expressed unease, although it has yet to issue a formal response. The message from the international community is clear: the actions taken by South Korea's government are being scrutinized, and any further escalation could have severe consequences on the global stage. The South Korean president has justified the declaration of martial law by claiming it is essential to protect the nation's democracy from internal threats. According to the government, the opposition is working with external enemies to destabilize the country and destabilize the government. This claim, however, has raised more questions than answers. The government has painted a picture of a nation on the brink of collapse, one where social disorder, economic instability, and even foreign influence threaten the country's very survival. They argue that martial law is the only option left to preserve order and prevent what they call anti-state elements from taking control. But let's be clear, martial law isn't about safeguarding the nation, it's about consolidating power. It's about silencing opposition, quashing dissent, and turning the military into the ultimate authority in a country that was once a proud democracy. The justification for martial law is weak at best, and it appears more like an excuse to clamp down on political opposition and entrench the ruling party's power. What's even more troubling is the blatant disregard for the Constitution. Legal experts, opposition leaders, and even some within the ruling party have questioned the legality of this martial law declaration. Critics argue that the president has overstepped his authority, bypassing the democratic processes enshrined in South Korea's constitution. By declaring martial law and imposing military control over the government, the president has undermined the separation of powers and effectively rendered the constitution meaningless. Critics argue that this is the kind of move that leads to a breakdown of the rule of law, where decisions are made behind closed doors, without accountability, and without public consent. As of today, the situation remains volatile. The military's grip on power continues, and protests show no sign of abating. The government remains firm in its stance, claiming that martial law is necessary to protect national security. But the longer martial law lasts, the more questions arise about the future of South Korea's democracy. Will the government restore the country's democratic processes, or will it use martial law as a pretext to maintain control indefinitely? The opposition is rallying harder than ever, refusing to back down and pledging to continue their fight against what they see as a dictatorship in the making. The outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear: this is a dangerous game that threatens to reshape South Korea's political future for years to come. South Korea stands at a crossroads. The declaration of martial law has plunged the country into crisis, sparking protests and raising alarms both domestically and abroad. This is not just about political maneuvering, it's about the survival of democracy itself. Will South Korea's democratic institutions be restored, or will the authoritarian shadow cast by martial law remain in place? We'll continue to monitor the situation closely here at the Daily Past. Stay tuned for updates as this crisis unfolds. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hard-hitting analysis on the issues that matter. The fight for democracy in South Korea is just beginning, and we'll be here to bring you the latest developments. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep watching the Daily Past.